my wife's glasses, all right? I can't read anything on the bench. I can't read our play sheet, stats. So she had to bring these from home. So I know these are a little silly, but good win. I tell you what, Weber was tough. They were feisty. They were a hard team for us to defend. I give them a ton of credit. And, first game, not having any footage, zero footage, scout film on that team, to hold them to 56 it was, or 58, or whatever it was. I don't have my glasses. 58. I mean, I really credit our kids. We just kind of found a way, and we found a lineup that really could kind of guard their stuff with Bargesser and Marty. Bragg was really good tonight. So it was just kind of it probably had a little more stress to it, it felt like, tonight. We didn't find a rhythm. And I know our players, Hannah wanted to find a rhythm, Brooke, and we started to force it a little bit. And we played, a little unsettled, but yet still scored 75. So I'm going to take a lot of positives from that because we can be a lot better.
You did have a lot of positives tonight, but the first game is one of those things where you don't overact one way or the other. You really just have to use this game as a gauge to what is possible.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's the first game for a lot of kids out there, for Deeden and for Bargesser and Bragg. And, once they got settled, you could see, they're going to be nice weapons for us. But again, these are stressful games for coaches. I can remember back to Oregon State last year. There was zero video exchange, and it was like all these transfers. Like, what are they going to run? How are they going to guard you? Who are these players? And I thought our kids did a nice job of really competing and finding a way. So I'm going to take a lot of positives from this.
I was going to say, if you couldn't read the play sheets or you couldn't obviously call anything, is that why you got a shot 70% of the first half?
Yeah.
Because you had no control over it.
Yeah, we found something that we thought would expose them a little bit. And so we just kind of went through some different actions early to see how they might guard it. We got some switches. That's why Bragg got going a little bit early. We set the ball screen really low. Lex got to her game. Marty was a nice spark off the bench. So, the ball screen was the best thing for us tonight. And we found it. We just stuck with it. So, dang, that's pretty good shooting then.
Yeah, it was in the first half.
First half, okay.
You and Lex, when you recruited Lexus, kind of made a deal. You can be who you are. Let's see who you can be. Pretty good debut in your eyes from what?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. She's a fun young lady to coach. She's very, very competitive. She holds herself to an extremely high standard, which she needs to give herself some grace a little bit, and when she can get to her spot, she's pretty hard to handle. You saw her finish with a lot of force at the basket. She wanted to make a three tonight. She took that really bad three. Ask her about that if she's in here, okay? And I got the blessing from her father to get on her about that bad three. But I think we've had some kids just trying to get themselves in the game, and we took some uncharacteristic shots that didn't fit the team. But Lex is really good. And you saw her block some shots late. We put her on Billy, their leading scorer, late. And she locked her up as well as scored it. So pretty good debut, I'd say.
This is a new role for her for college, at least. How much do you kind of have to ride even within games to let her kind of feel it out?
Yeah, that's good. You have to. This is such unfamiliar territory for her at this level. And when big games are on the line, and just getting the feel for when to do this, when to do that. And so I think it takes a while. I think it does. Her role was totally different at Indiana. She was just kind of a reserve, go in, run the offense, not a threat, didn't play through or anything like that. So I think when she just even gets more comfortable on the floor, Kevin, she's going to be really difficult to handle. So, we need to show her, we need to be patient. I feel we're being fairly patient with her, and she needs to be patient with herself and show herself some grace. So,
You had some returners come back, and obviously when the season ends, you ask them to work on some things. You see Chloe with 6 assists tonight, and she hits both of her threes. She only hit 5 all last year. You saw Marta struggle last year offensively. She found her groove, looked like the end of her sophomore campaign. Is that what you saw come through tonight? Was players really kind of hone in on what they wanted to do in their game and came back and showed signs of what they worked on?
They did. And, Chloe making those 2 threes in the first quarter or first half, that was just, my heart was smiling on those because that young lady has really, really worked on it. And she took them within the flow of what we were doing. It's not like, I'm going to force it or whatever. So that probably makes a coach more happy than the threes going in. They were just the right shot at the right time. And Marty's been good ever since she stepped foot on campus from her 3-on-3 this summer. That young lady's been remarkable. And we're bringing her off the bench right now just because I like bringing, arguably your best guard off the bench. And that just balances out. We shouldn't have a letdown. So we played 2 exhibitions in a game, and we've scored 75 plus in each. And Marty has a lot to do with that. She's been outstanding, and her three's confident. She's shooting them within the flow, and it's fun to watch those kids be productive at the things that we asked them to get better at.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.